channel.
Hey everybody, another episode of the May event. We continuing on May 2024. Oh, sorry, I'm a little tongue twister at that moment. But yeah, let me have my previous self explain. Pressure Channel presents the May event. This is a special event where we have you guys, the voters, decide which fighters should go against in which category. So let me explain the basic rules of our event here. One, they're not always in particular order. Just have fun. This is just for fun. Everything I say is not a guarantee. There might be some arguments you guys might feel free to put down in the comment section below. Just be civil, where you might agree or disagree with me. Let's see, what else? Number two, this had to be voted in by you, the supporters. So we've been doing this for TikToks for months. So you guys voted in these characters to go against each other in this particular match. And lastly, this one, we usually on our channel, we do a beatdown episode where we have you guys have two different arguments and we don't have a real clear winner. We just base our argument on which one we think would win on which fight on our end. And you guys decide which one you think was the best by hashtagging it. This time, we're only basing the argument on no ties. It has to be one clear winner. So we're gonna make the argument on who should be the clear winner, and then you guys can decide whether or not it's actually good enough, okay? Civil? All right, let us begin. All right, and on today's episode, we have an interesting match. This match is gonna be called the Gods Match. Now, what is Gods Match? Gods Match is pretty simple. We are going to have either any form of gods fighting against each other mano a mano, and you already saw in the caption below who's facing in this fight. So let's get things started. From the Marvel Universe, hailing from Asgard as the ruler of it, the one and only Odin, able to split a mountain with the swing of his sword. The All-Father is a mighty god. He has the Odin Force, thanks to the sacrifice of his brothers, giving up their lives during battle, granting Odin their life force to create the Odin Force, which obtains mystical properties along with cosmic potential. He can manipulate time with it, create energy projection, matter manipulation, interdimensional travel, create illusions. His might has no limits. Even if he's sitting in Asgard, he can strike a single human where he is sitting all the way to Earth. Reduce powers and strip memories of his own Asgardian sons. You think you can get the drop on him? Fat chance. As a god, he is aware of his surroundings across the universe. He was able to sense the destruction of the Celestials before anything took place. How about this flex? To avoid Surtur's wrath harming humans, he decided to stop time and then transfer all of humanity to another dimension. Now, how's that for a flex? Battling him in an equal ground, you two would shatter planets or create suns, as he did in the comics with enchanters. Not big enough? Alright, how about when he defeated Infinity, absorbing it, and then using the Force to rebuild everything they destroyed during their planet-busting run and erase the minds of everyone in the universe of the incident, flexing on how he can take your powers and use it better. He created the Biofrost, that is the bridge between all the worlds in the universe, summons a mass of electromagnetic particles from space and concentrates them above the Earth to make it begin its rotation, which traps Surtur within the Earth through centrifugal forces. His ultimate weapon is the Gun Gear, a spear made up of the same material as Thor's hammer. This weapon has the capabilities of harnessing the Odin Force and using it as a weapon. He has taken on Thanos, Galactus, and even Celestials. From the DC comic realms, the ruler of Apocalypse and the new god himself, Darkseid. This new god is tough as nails, as he can send Superman flying with his backhand. You know, the poster child of cosmic powers. Another time he defeated Eclipsa, who is equal strength as the Spectre. You know, the living embodiment of God's wrath. He can take the blasts that were known to take out everything from existence, well, almost everything. His small flex are his teleportation and telekinesis powers, but his big flex is this. He has 18 divine senses, making him aware of cosmic threats on almost every level. He can travel to the edge of existence in 5 seconds, which is impossible to do by practically anyone. He wields the Omega effect, which happens to be a cosmic force on which he uses his Omega beams to harness his potential. This Omega beam has struck down heroes like Supergirl, Superman, and even the Spectre himself. You can get hit with those and you'll wind up in an endless loop where your previous life ends and you get sucked each time to a reborn to a worser life than the previous one. Now that's nuts. He can use his telepathy to control even the strongest wills like Martian Manhunter, who can tap into the minds of every living thing on Earth in microseconds. He controlled an entire planet's population, which was home to 3 billion individuals. He can manipulate the time stream, for crying out loud, manipulate matter to create a starship as big as New York, resurrect the dead without breaking a sweat. The new god can hold his own against multiverse level threats like Anti-Monitor, showing he can too be a planet destroying buster. True form Darkseid isn't even able to fit in our universe, which requires him to use an avatar. His true form defeated True Father, the father of all good, and with that allowed all the bad guys to defeat the good guys with much more ease thanks to the true form Darkseid. Alright, so let's talk about how Darkseid might be able to win this one. So, let's talk about his incredible 18 senses. What does that mean? What do the 18 senses mean? Divine senses. Well, these divine senses allow him to sense any credible threat coming his way, which means cosmic-wise, he'd be probably able to see Odin coming, which means he could probably have a weapon ready for Odin before Odin shows up during a battle between the two and be able to use that weapon against him. Another thing is, speed-wise, who's faster? I'm going to give it to Darkseid. Darkseid was able to travel to the edge of existence in 5 seconds. According to scientists, that's pretty impossible to do. On top of that, it's impossible to get there and how far it is. And the fact that Darkseid was able to travel to the edge of it in 5 seconds is an impressive feat in itself. Another thing we have to mention is the fact that he was able to destroy the Green Lantern's ring. Okay, why would I mention that? Because it is a cosmic level weapon, which means that Odin's gun gear spear or sphere or whatever you call it isn't going to have a chance against Darkseid's capabilities of being able to break it or snap it into half. So yeah, it's just the argument to say that Darkseid would be able to break his weapon during a fight and then leave Odin defenseless in that sort of way. If Odin gets hit with Darkseid's Omega Beam, oof, that's going to be a bad situation, a bad day for Odin. Now, if you don't know this about the Omega Beam, it has an Omega effect inside of it that traps you once you get nailed with it. If he surprises Odin with one of those surprise Omega Beam shots, which he could because his Omega Beam can do all kinds of crazy stuff and zigzag and stuff and even split into two, I would say that if Odin gets hit with it, it's going to scream demise, considering the fact that if you get stuck in it, if you get hit with it, now you're living a life where your previous life is no more, and then you start a life where you're seeing the worst thing happen and worst thing being done to you, and then you pass away, and then the next thing you get reborn again, and then you're tortured even way worse. And that's just an endless cycle. It just keeps increasing when it comes to how long you're stuck in that Omega effect. Is how long it's going to be draining you and affecting you for the long run. So yeah, he gets hit with that Omega Beam, game over. Now another thing I have to add is Darkseid's true form. Now what's Darkseid's true form? I thought this was his true form. Nope. Darkseid actually has avatars. What are avatars? Avatars are just like an embodiment of him, but much more smaller, like a robot or like a tool, like an extra, tool to help him out to be, so he can go and fight people. So, the Darkseid we see is kind of like almost a version of him, but a smaller version of him. It's not his true form. You see, he lives outside of our universe existence and dimensions and stuff like that, which means he's like in the fourth wall or something like that, which is impossible for anyone to really reach. But if Darkseid decided to take Odin to his world, it'd be game over. Odin is strong and he's fought infinity and he's done pretty impressive with that. But Darkseid's true form is something you don't scuff at, nothing you mess with. Without Darkseid's existence, the world would end, the multiverse would end. So Darkseid is that powerful to say that, yeah, he might be able in his true form to completely wipe out Odin out of existence. Alright, so let's talk about how Odin might win this one. Well, a couple things to mention is he was able to go toe-to-toe with Celestials. Celestials are cosmic level threats. Darkseid is considered a cosmic level threat, so he can fight equal grounds with Darkseid. And as long as he doesn't go to Darkseid's true form in his other realm, he should be safe in this situation, which most likely doesn't happen. Darkseid doesn't usually take anybody to his realm. He usually uses his avatar and he thinks, I could beat anybody with this avatar. So if he uses that avatar, Odin has a very likely fighting chance to defeat Darkseid, considering the fact that Odin has just many combat war experience under his belt. Another thing Odin can do, he can trap Darkseid probably somewhere, considering that he did it to Serta when it comes to using, I believe, the planet to do that. So there is a potential possibility that Odin could probably trap Darkseid somewhere and win the victory on that sort of way. And obviously the other things I could add on is that the new gods have apparently a weakness to radion bullets. So if Odin were to figure that out, which he is an all-knowing father, he might be able to figure out that yes, Darkseid has a weakness to something and obtain that. He has the power to do it. I mean, he can stop time and all that stuff. He can go over, grab the radion bullet and then shoot Darkseid with it. There is that potential, and Darkseid can probably stop time too, but obviously Odin, if he stops time at that moment, it might give him the advantage to take him out. And another thing is that Odin is known to absorb very powerful beings like Infinity. He could probably absorb the Omega effect, and if he absorbs that, he could use that to overpower Darkseid. Darkseid getting his powers absorbed by Odin and then having that power being used against him, yeah, there's no chance that Darkseid wins on that end. Ultimately, who would be the winner? I'm gonna give this one to Darkseid. The reason I give it to Darkseid is because in this world, Darkseid can actually, it's just an avatar, which means if he took Odin to his true form, it would be a game over. There's no question about it. Now, another thing is to make the argument is that if Darkseid were just to throw down with Odin, let's say they just fought back and forth, planets destroying, yada yada, and Odin thinks, all right, I beat this guy, I got him down, Darkseid can just probably bring another avatar, or he could just transfer him to his actual true form dimension and have him fight him there after taking on his previous avatar, which means after that exhaustion of battling, look, Odin is strong, he still needs a day to recover, but fighting a character in his avatar form and then having to fight his true form, I mean, you're powerful, but at some point you reach a limit where it's too much for you to handle, especially if that true form is like full 100% tip-top shape and you just took on a battle with someone who's about equal match with you. Yeah, I'm gonna say Darkseid's got this in the bag. But as always, no Prince fan, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later, keeping it 400 subs. Peace. Shout out to all my content supporters. Not working together, but we like to give credit where credit is due. Ivan the Unstoppable for all the knowledge of comic feats, Watch Mojo for origins and for all the background videos, Comic Historian, Comics Explained, and Key Issues. Go ahead and check them out and tap into the world of comics by supporting other creators. Link to channels will be in the description below.